Hello and welcome to the Hibs Observer instant reaction from today's game at Easter Road. I'm joined by Callum Napier just to look back on quite an action-packed 90 plus minutes. The Hibs going in at the break 2-0 down after Conor McMenamin's first half double, and then looking for all the world dead and buried until they got a second penalty of the game after Martin Boyle missed first one in the sort of midway through the second half. Substitute Nicky Cadden scoring that, and then incredibly scoring again seconds later, only to see it ruled out for offside. So final score of 2-1 at St Mirren, and it feels a little bit like it felt a little bit inevitable. I think that the way things were going, that late equaliser was going to get chalked off for offside. But having seen it back, hard to argue with it really, and just feels a bit like the way things are going for Hibs at the moment. Callum, what did you make of a 90 minutes when there was plenty to talk about?
Yeah, just when you thought Hibs had sort of done to St Mirren what's been happening to them the last few weeks, just they find a new way to sort of to hurt the fans. Yeah, as you say, it probably was rightly disallowed, but it just felt inevitable. But to be honest, Hibs probably didn't deserve much from the game, truth be told. The first half especially was a really poor performance, I thought. To be fair, the sort of triple change at half time I thought did help. And you saw players coming on who haven't been given much of a chance recently, and I thought obviously it couldn't get much worse. The performance did improve, but it was sort of just too little too late. And yeah, the missed penalty from Boyle, I think they're going to regret that, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean it does feel a little bit like when you're at the bottom of the table, when you've been experiencing what Hibs have in the way of individual errors and conceding late goals, and then last weekend the VAR decision controversially going against them, and then obviously midweek finding out that VAR shouldn't have intervened in the first place. It is. I mean, it's like you say. It does feel a bit inevitable. It's the way things are going. I mean, I think it's you rightly say the first half was really, really disappointing. I think it'd be interesting to see what David Gray has to say in his post-match comments, because I think everything that he said in midweek or in the lead up to the game was about believing in what he's doing. The players are saying the same, how they sort of believe in each other, and really want to put in a performance for David Gray. But it really was just, I mean, insipid. It was just lacking in cohesion. There was a lot of sort of silly mistakes, passes not reaching their intended targets, and culminating in sort of like another individual error from Warren O'Hora in the lead up to the second goal. And I think it is concerning when you hear what the players are saying about wanting to put a performance in and trusting that they're all together and everything. To then see that first half performance, particularly when there did seem to be an improvement in the past couple of games. The 0-0 at Ross County, and then the 1-1 with Dundee United, where you could argue it was a good performance, undone by VAR, and it's always a kind of a bit of a lottery whether VAR is going to go against you or for you. And today Hibs sort of experienced both ends of that. I suppose the first penalty was checked when Martin Boyle was fouled by Mark O'Hara. That was checked. It was given. And I think after Mikola Pereira's penalty at Ibrox, he just thought surely it'll be a different type of penalty and the same thing won't happen. But unfortunately, the same thing did happen. It was a weak penalty. It was really easy for Ellery Balcom just to kind of fall to his right-hand side and save it. And it would have been such a lift for Hibs. As you say, it did look like the three substitutions at halftime did sort of, I mean, it would be hard for it to get worse, but the three substitutions did seem to make some sort of difference. I think, if that penalty goes in, I think it was about 63 minutes, then, maybe Hibs could have taken, more out of the game than they did. I think really the only kind of saving grace from this performance would be that sort of late rally towards the end, when they get the second penalty for handball. Handball? Was it handball? I'm having a memory.
Second penalty was for when Boyle. Second penalty was so you had the shout originally when there was a handball that wasn't given. Then you had Boyle driving in the box and that was given, missed. And then the second penalty was a handball.
Was handball? Yes. Can't keep up with the two penalties. Anyway, Nicky Cadden obviously scores the penalty. A bit of debate about who should take it in the first place. Dwight Gale was there. I think Ellie Yuan might have fancied it, but he made no mistake from the spot. And then that sort of late rally that they score again, and obviously it's ruled out for offside. I mean that suggests that there is still something here. It suggests that the players are still playing for the manager, that sort of thing. But it just feels a little bit too little, too late. And even if it had counted, even if it was a 2-2 draw, I think that really would have papered over cracks, I suppose. At that, when you look at the players who started in this game, given what they've done in recent games, like you wouldn't argue against that starting lineup. Obviously, issues with Gale not being fit and Kurevich being suspended, but fair to say there's a few players who started today who might not be starting again anytime soon.
Yeah. A lot, as you said earlier, a lot of errors, a lot of misplaced passes, and I thought the quality of delivery into the box was really, really poor, especially from the right hand side. In the first half, especially our left hand side looks really threatening with Abita and Hoyle. And I think St Mirren they knew that, and they were keeping that side tight, and there was a lot of space down the right for Cadden and Boyle, but they really failed to get any sort of dangerous delivery into the box, and that kept going throughout the game, not just in the first half, but in the second half as well. Even after the changes, we failed to really trouble the St Mirren defence properly. And even from corners as well, we've got a big team. There's big players in there to aim for. There's so many times we barely beat the first man. The Hibs barely beat the first man. That was the sort of frustrating thing, I thought, from a Hibs point of view, was the lack of quality into the box. Even when they did have chances and they found space down the right with some nice play, then they still failed to sort of get a real quality ball into the box. But as you said, I thought Hibs might take some sort of positive from the fact that they did keep fighting. I mean, there's been a lot of accusations thrown towards them the last few weeks that they're a team that sort of give up, and especially when the shoe was on the other foot and they were trying to defend, whereas they showed that they were fighting right to the end. Although it was just, as you said, their luck this season, it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, it does feel like the offside goal for the equaliser, and just missing penalties, things like that. It does almost feels inevitable when you're at the bottom of the league, when you're not getting rub of the green. It doesn't feel surprising, and the way things have been going for Hibs, it feels like there's just like an atmosphere. I mean, the players have talked about that fear of making mistakes late on in games. I mean, if you're being really, if you're sort of searching around, scrabbling for positives, this is the first time in a while that Hibs haven't conceded late on. And then it was actually them throwing everything at St Mirren, trying to get something from the game. And you could maybe say that's a positive because that's turned. But then you look at the rest of it and you think bits that were good in previous matches now are no longer sort of as good as they were. And you just think, like, after a week where you had 3 games in 7 days, to then have a week off to sort of rest up, to prepare for a game like this, knowing how important it was going into the international break, and knowing sort of like how big 3 points could be, to sort of come out and essentially have a first half performance like that is, you just sort of think that it doesn't really seem, there's no evidence of, I mean, I think we're seeing progress from certainly the start of the season, but it feels like it's glacial progress. And then individual errors obviously are still there, and you've got a performance like that. I mean, I don't know whether it's the combination of players, I don't know what it is. But yeah, I just think that it's something has to change, and it feels difficult to keep on. Obviously, people will say the manager needs to change, but Hibs have tried that. The same things keep happening, and obviously you've got the international break now, which is probably, you wouldn't have wanted that, whatever the result was, whether it was a draw, whether it was a Hibs win or a St Mirren win, is the case. As it was. It's sort of a longer time for the outcome to kind of linger, isn't it?
Yeah, and you saw that at the end of the game. It doesn't feel really a nice place to be at the moment. Easter Road at the moment. The boos from the first goal, the second, and half time really loud, and then you saw what was happening at the full time whistle towards the sort of director's box as well. It's not really nicest vibes around the place, and that can't help the players either. And yeah, it's weird. Where do they go from here? Do they make that change? Or do they just review it over the international break? I suppose it gives them time to do so, but they might look at the last few minutes and see, well, the team's still fighting for them. The team's still fighting for the manager. It was strange because they scored 2 late goals in front of almost an empty stadium, because everyone had basically given up by that point. The fans had all left, and to be fair, there wasn't any. Hibs didn't give much of a reason to make you believe that they could have turned it around, but yeah, they did. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see whether changes are made over the next couple of weeks, what noises might come out in the next few days.
But we're going to wrap it up there. We're going to head downstairs now and see what David Gray has to say. And you can see on the Hibs Observer website and our YouTube channel, What He Says. We'll bring that to you as soon as possible. Thanks, Callum, for joining us, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you again soon.